In the news tonight, government responds to concerns about housing challenges. Barbados moves to strengthen UK links by establishing a mission in Scotland. Concern about the exposure of firefighters to harmful cancer-causing substances. And in sports, Barbados could have its new national stadium by 2027.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, government wants more Barbadians to train in the construction sector as government seeks to address several housing demands. Wendy Burke tells us this was one of the issues discussed at the St. Michael Speaks Town Hall meeting at Solidarity House.
10 constituencies and several issues placed on the table, among them housing and being on the National Housing Corporation's waiting list for a lengthy period. Tanya Goodridge of Chapman Street spoke about her situation.
I applied at National Housing since 2013. This is 2023 and up to now I can't get a positive response at all. I also applied at Urban. Nothing positive there over the years from 2013, so that's another issue there.
Prime Minister Moore Motley has explained the reason for the delays.
Urban will only repair. Urban doesn't provide or build houses from scratch, so it's really NHC. But suffice it to say that that's why we've tried to set up the Hope Company, and we're basically trying to ramp up seriously now. When I spoke to the conference, it was a month ago, I indicated that there were some challenges, particularly at the staffing level, and we're resolving those now. As recent as this evening, I had another meeting, so that I really anticipate. It has taken us a while because we've lost the art of doing things at scale in this country.
And the Senior Minister in Housing, Dr. William Duguid, points out many infrastructural projects are to come on stream, but there's a need for more skilled labour.
We still have all of the housing projects that we have to build as well. And when you add in all of the housing projects, and on top of that, you also have an urban renewal program that we're looking at as well. And if you put all of the numbers together, all of the people working on all these various projects, we will not have enough people and enough contractors to do all of the projects together. So we have to ramp up the construction gateway, and we encourage as many people as possible, get more people involved, because if you don't have those numbers, it means it takes longer to get the projects done.
St. Michael West resident Anderson Ford has highlighted a road issue which he says has been lingering for over a year.
July, August, the NTW came back and they started to put up the boxing in order to build the slip and curb. And they have not returned. They haven't returned. This is over
since August?
Since August. Haven't returned. And as a result, you get the showers, the heavy rains, the water, puddles and pooling in front residents, adjacent to residents' homes, which is an inconvenience. And
it's also a public health risk.
So exactly.
And Minister of Transport Works and Water Resources, Santia Bradshaw, has lamented the length of time taken.
It should not have taken this long. I don't know if it is as a result of weather, because that has affected some of our completion of work. So I'm not going to tell you that that's the only reason, and all of y'all know the other reasons, but I will ask Mr. Jason if you can speak.
That is a matter that I am really unaware of at this point in time. I'm going to have to go investigate it and see what's going on, and I'm sure we'll deal with that as soon as possible.
St. Michael South Member of Parliament Kirk Humphrey spoke about the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs establishing satellite centres in communities so those in need of services can visit from their areas and not go to the main offices. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Efforts are ongoing to tackle the issue of noise pollution on the island. While admitting it will be a complicated matter, Attorney General Dale Marshall says the Ministry of Environment has begun working on the approach needed. Concerns were raised by a resident of a Black Rock St. Michael community about noise from a nearby establishment during last evening's St. Michael Speaks. Mr. Marshall revealed currently the laws do not allow the Ministry of Environment to take action against noise pollution.
We've been courageous enough to deal with the issue when it came to kite flying, because there was a significant element of annoyance posed to Barbadians, and we were prepared to go to Parliament and pass a law so as to alleviate some of that bother. Noise pollution, though, as a whole, is going to be a much more complicated matter. The minister isn't here, I don't think, but I can tell you that they have just ordered 6 meters, and these meters are able to measure the level of the number of decibels, and that is going to help to inform the approach.
Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley believes the country has to settle on parameters for noise pollution.
I would expect, Senior Minister Duguid, that this is one of the areas that you're going to have to look at. There's some areas too that are entertainment areas. So St. Lawrence Gap and Holtown are clearly entertainment areas. Parts of Baxter's Road, Tudor Street, Westbury Road, those were traditionally Oystons. We may have to get a few more.
The National Insurance Department will cease being a department of government at month-end. Minister of Labour Colin Jordan today announced effective December 1st, it will transition to a full-fledged commercial state-owned enterprise. He spoke about the changes during debate on the National Insurance and Social Security Amendment No. 2 bill in the lower house today. Well, Wendy Burke joins us live now with more details. Good evening, Wendy.
Good evening to you, Lisa. Mr. Jordan told the House the SOE will now be called the National Insurance and Social Security Service. A board will be responsible for the formulation of policy and the organization and administration of the service, including the appointment of staff, the management of the service, and the monitoring of its performance. He's also sought to explain what the change will mean for the 267 public servants currently employed at the NIS.
I am absolutely overjoyed to be able to say to you, Mr. Speaker, and to be able to say to the country that 92.5% of those persons have agreed to transition to the National Insurance and Social Security Service. (247) of the 267.
He's also revealed what will happen to the remaining staff members.
In keeping with our approach to governance, where people are at the center, where people matter, those persons who have opted not to transition, those who are working in national insurance today, but who have opted not to transition, they have already met with the Ministry of the Public Service, and details are being worked out as to how they will be absorbed in the wider public service system.
Now, Mr. Jordan says some of the legislative changes are being made to make it easier for self-employed people to contribute to the National Insurance Scheme. He's announced the minimum annual payment of contributions for self-employed people will be $1,200.
Roughly $585 per month, or $135 per week. Mr. Speaker, we've set it with two things in mind. The amount needs to make sense as it relates to the kind of coverage that a person can have. So it cannot be $100 a year. It cannot be $200 a year. It has to make sense because our intention is to treat people with the value that they deserve. And so if we're going to provide benefit, if we're going to provide coverage, then we intend to provide proper coverage.
In welcoming the amendments, MP for St. George North, Tony Moore, has called attention to the classification of self-employed individuals and what she describes as a worrying trend with workers in pseudo or quasi-employment.
When it comes to assigning whether or not workers are under a contract of service or contract for service, some of us will want to make excuses for them because all of a sudden they become good. Kadir, they didn't know. But breaking it down, the misclassification of a worker as being under a contract for service, when indeed that worker is under a contract of service, is something that has to be concerning to the NIS, but should not only be concerning to the NIS, but should be concerning to all of us.
Ms. Moore, the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, has also called on what will soon become the National Insurance and Social Security Service to do the necessary monitoring and enforcement. And in his contribution, Minister of Home Affairs and Information, Wilfred Abrams, is encouraging more self-employed people to join the NIS.
It stands to the benefit of Barbados and Barbadians for more people to contribute. If even more people come onto the scheme, contributing at the bottom and working their way up to something manageable, it benefits the fund because there is a larger pool of money available to invest. The other thing, sir, that I looked at and I was glad to see, I'm not sure if it was in the original legislation, there's an investment committee. And the guidelines for the investments, the board appears now to have a little bit more flexibility in the range of things it can consider for investment. And it can also make recommendations to the minister, I guess, if it wants a relaxation of policy to allow it to invest in certain things.
That bill was passed this afternoon, ending debate for the day. Back to you, Lisa.
Thanks, Wendy. And coming up on Newsnight, Barbados moves to strengthen UK links. Barbados is strengthening links in the United Kingdom with the establishment of a mission in Scotland. The revelation from Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Business, Sandra Husbands, as she addressed the Scotland Trade and Investment Mission to Barbados. Trevor Thorpe has those details.
Officials say the UK-Barbados link goes back 400 years, with diplomatic ties between the two countries established in 1979. Minister Sandra Husbands says trade on both sides has increased in recent years, and she's upbeat about future plans.
Barbados will be strengthening its partnership with Ireland, and plans are in train to establish an embassy there. In fact, a team is currently in Ireland exploring the opportunities for business and for setting up our High Commission there. So there are abundant prospects on the horizons.
Ms. Husband says the mission is being set up on the heels of initiatives announced by Prime Minister Motley.
Barbados, on the other hand, seeks to be flexible, seeks to adjust, and try to position itself where it can maximize the best benefit for its citizens and the best benefit for our investors. I want to assure you that discussions will continue with our stakeholders on the proposed tax reforms. And like yourselves, we want to encourage ventilation of any concerns and any further clarification that you might need pertaining to the pending changes to the Barbados corporate tax structure.
Deputy British High Commissioner Charlie Williams says the UK's public and private sectors are well placed to help the Scotland to Barbados trade mission.
Continued interest in this trade mission is in no small part due to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean being much more than an attractive proposition for tourism and leisure, but that is a very important part of the partnership, of course. It is a country that is very much open for business and investment. And of course, Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean continue to be key allies for the UK. In the short time I've been here, I arrived at the end of February, beginning of March, I've seen directly the strong partnership we enjoy here and in the region. And I look forward to some keen competition too with the cricket series coming up next month.
The participants have been urged to make maximum use of the information given to them during the 3-day exercise. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Local firefighters are being urged to take appropriate precautions to reduce their exposure to harmful cancer-causing substances. The appeal has come from Chief Training Instructor at the Barbados Fire Academy, Leading Fire Officer Andrew Taylor. He was speaking during the launch of the Barbados Fire Service Association's 2023 Fire and Life Safety Handbook. The book, which contains stories and useful information for fire prevention and safety, also features an article about the various cancers firefighters may be exposed to on the job.
I wrote the article to try to move away from the old school thinking, because when I first came in here in 2000, I was told to be a firefighter after now to eat smoke. Last time I checked, we were not chimneys. Those are the only things that eat smoke or exhaust pipe. So I really want to move away from that thinking and really encourage all the firefighters to wear their respirators. When they go to car fires, actually put on what we call our self-contained breathing apparatus, because if anyone knows, a dashboard alone, the contents of a dashboard alone can kill you. It may not kill you right away, but in 10, 15 years when you realize you're coming out with all your symptoms, then you realize what the issue was.
The handbook has been endorsed by Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard, who says it aligns perfectly with the ongoing rebranding efforts of the fire service.
By placing emphasis on prevention and mitigation, the service can engage with the community in new ways. So we want to get out there and engage you. Raising awareness about fire safety measures, offering educational programs, and advocating for proactive measures to reduce risk. Rebranding in this direction communicates a commitment not only fighting fires but also preventing them from occurring in the first place. So prevention is our #1 priority.
Meanwhile, the retirement age of the fire officers is among issues occupying the attention of the Fire Service Association. That's according to Chairman of the Association, Corey Bridgman. He was also speaking during the launch of the handbook.
Things like promotion within the Barbados Fire Service. We look at better salaries. We look at one of the most important things is early retirement. And Kevin would have alluded to a number of things that we as fire officers go through on a daily basis. Taylor spoke about cancer, which is the #1 thing. And when you look at how fire and other incidents affects us, you can understand the toll it takes upon our bodies. Some of us say that this job is for young people now because of all the different things that we encounter on a daily basis.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
Time for a look at sports now. Mark Seal is standing by live in the sports studio, so that's where we're going. Good evening, Mark.
Very good evening. A timeline has been set out for the construction of the new National Stadium in Waterford. Senior Minister in the Prime Minister's office with responsibility for infrastructural projects, Dr. William Duguid, says work will start in 4 to 5 months after an environmental impact assessment is completed. He made the comments at St. Michael's Speaks last night at Solidarity House.
It involves lots of things, the social side of things, the traffic, parking, how it will treat with the water that's available. All those things go in to make up an environmental impact assessment. All of those are put together. The Sports Council has chosen somebody. I've told them that the environmental impact assessment has to be done in 4 weeks, so that as soon as that is completed, we can complete all the other processes and start. We're looking at a tentative start date for March, April of next year. In addition, we're also looking to give the National Stadium more space as well, which would mean a redirection of the road, as well as we're looking to do a warm-up track, a 400-meter warm-up track in the vicinity, right next to the stadium as well.
Prime Minister Mia Moore-Montley added that the work will take approximately 3 years to complete.
When the work starts, it'll probably take about 3 years to do, and that's why, if you recall, the current stadium that we are now abandoning effectively has been around, Frank Gill, for how long? 50 years? so that this one that we're building, we expect to last the country at least 50, 60 years. I would have loved that this was done and addressed at a time when the country had more money or when we were not in an IMF program. But the reality is that the combination of features has led to the delay, but we are not slacking off.
The Business Report, brought to you by the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, a department of the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, supporting young entrepreneurs from idea to enterprise.
Opportunities abound in Barbados for today's young people. That comment from Acting Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, Davidson Ishmael, at the recently held Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme's Cohort 2 orientation.
The Acting Minister of Youth told the participants the journey is a challenging one, but the elements were in their favour. Recalling his own experiences, he asked them not to give up, but to create, innovate, and then make it happen.
Entrepreneurship is a journey that I think needs to be aspirational. Our young people need not to just see themselves as working for people, but they should see themselves working for themselves. So with all of these realities being considered, we can conclude that the future growth and competitiveness of the Barbados economy will depend largely on the strategic training of our young people to be entrepreneurial, critical thinkers, highly and diversely skilled, innovative, and highly motivated to succeed. Thus, the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, was created to support our young entrepreneurs ages 18 to 35 who have business ideas and who have either started or are considering starting a small business or are seeking to grow and or expand their existing operations. Priority consideration is given to young people for whom the venture is or will be the sole source of income, and in particular, intentionally seeks out marginalized youth and female entrepreneurs. And I see a lot of, when I look at the room, I see a lot of females here, so clearly, yes, I was about to say miss, sorry. That's my substantive ministry. It's clear that YES is fulfilling its mandate at targeting female entrepreneurs. And we've seen all across Barbados, we've seen across the region that you find that there are a lot more women who gravitate towards these activities. I'm not saying necessarily that it ought to be that way, because I would love to see a lot more men involved in entrepreneurial activity. But I believe that is a symptom of a wider societal issue.
The minister says the program of study they are about to follow will set them on the right path.
We want you to give your best, and we want you to be of your best, and we want to give you the best possible chance at successfully navigating your entrepreneurial journey. And we are well aware that this will not be an easy road. Accordingly, and for the first time, YES has made a conscious and intentional decision to incorporate this component within the preliminary phase of this program to ensure that we focus on promoting entrepreneurs who are sound, who are solid, and who are ready, both financially and mentally. Moreover, YES has initiated discussions and negotiations with the University of the West Indies Open Campus to undertake a credentialing exercise where the entire entrepreneurial development training program will be reviewed to ensure that the standards and robustness of the curriculum is consistent with the institution's standards regarding the delivery and content quality of its training modules. The engagement with UWI Open Campus will also eventually establish the framework for the joint certification of this program, thus permitting the Certificate of Achievement to bear the official logo of UWI Open Campus, along, of course, with YES's logo. This progressive initiative will provide clients with a designation that is regionally and internationally recognized, as it will now carry the logo of the leading accredited educational and training institution in our region.
The minister told participants there will also be community-based training, entrepreneurship and business modelling that will be targeted to all corners of the island using facilitators who would have passed through the Trainer of Trainers workshop.
The Barbados Port Incorporated has spent more than $2 million to upgrade its cruise infrastructure. With an anticipated busy 2023-2024 cruise season, Minister of Tourism and International Transport Ian Gooding-Edgell has indicated the enhancements were made to ensure the port's operations were efficient, safe and environmentally friendly. These upgrades, he says, were also timely as the country continues to see an upward trend in its cruise sector. The minister's comments came at the weekend as he addressed the ceremony to welcome TUI's Marella Voyager to the island. He revealed the New Berth 6 construction project, which began in January this year, should be completed next July. It's back over to the sports studio now to Mark for the second half in sports. Mark.
Indeed, we're going to start with some football, where the Barbados senior men's team ended their torrid CONCACAF Nations League B campaign last night with a 4-2 thrashing by hosts Montserrat. Barbados lost all 6 of their fixtures, and after last night, they are relegated to League C.
Into a central part of the penalty area, it's recycled. Montserrat could be in for a second, and they do get it! 2 goals in next to no time. Josiah Dyer makes it 2-0. Applewaite's ball in. It comes out to the edge of the penalty area, and it's a wonderful finish. You have a corner kick here from Nadre Butcher. That's played into the middle. Again, it's dangerous, but nobody in blue attacks it. And was there a challenge behind by Applewhite? Oh, a shot comes in, and it's parried away by Brooks. He's been told he's in the right position. It's pulled in very well, and it's headed in. Montserrat, once again, have a 2-goal advantage. Gordon. Meade. Shot comes in. Oh, it's a thunderbolt from Dominic Richmond. Oh, and Barbados might get a chance to get back into this here. A challenge comes in. Oh, might be handled on the edge, and the ball goes in. Well, there were 2 big penalty shouts, but in the end, it's finished off by Tajio James, the substitute.
Cuban athlete Torreblanca Quiralta was the star of the 2023 edition of the Barbados Independence Invitational Games beach wrestling competition held over the weekend at Brandon's Beach. The Pan American Games gold medalist won the 90-plus kilogram category and then was crowned champion of champions after defeating the 70 to 80 kg winner Charlie Boland of England in the open final. We have highlights.
And here we go. It's on. Charlie goes for a single leg. Torreblanca right away. Defends. Referee blows the whistle. Let's see who he gives a point to Cuba. Charlie put his knee down on the drive-in. So Torreblanca was able to score easy 1 point over the Englishman. So you see they're patient right now. You're not going to see a lot of quick. Oh, there we go. Explosive move from Torreblanca. Was able to score on Charlie. Remember, guys, this is the grand final. This is weight class versus weight class. So we have Charlie of the 80 and Torreblanca of the 90 facing off against each other. So we have Torreblanca now facing off. He is head-to-head with Charlie. He goes for the necktie. He goes in for an underhook. What he's going to do with it, Charlie defends. He steps back. Torreblanca kind of pauses, looking for an opening. He is a very good guy. He sets up his opponents very well. Charlie goes down. He is able to throw him out very easily. Torreblanca said, not today, Mr. Boland of England. He knew what he had to do. Nice battle, but these 2 men are from separate parts of the world. We have England and we have Cuba going at it in this grand championship final. We have Cuba coming out on top.
Now on the women's side, it was an all-Barbados showdown in the final of the 60 kg section, featuring the only 2 entrants, Jessica Durrell and Rebecca Williams. Durrell registered the win.
An all Barbados clash for this one.
Yeah, definitely so. These two ladies look very tenacious. I was seeing them warm up. I was looking at them warm up earlier on, and I was like, okay, these ladies are going to go for it hard. So we got Jessica in blue, Williams in yellow, and the fight continues. A body lock, she's trying to walk her opponent out, and she does get her out of the ring. So 1 point goes to the young lady in the blue trunks.
And that's Darrell in blue, Jessica Darrell, and Williams in the yellow trunks.
So we got Jessica in blue, Williams in yellow, and the fight continues. So there she goes for the arm drag. Jessica goes to the arm drag. She's trying to pull her opponent in, rope her in to do something, but can she? That's a dominant position as well. What is she going to do with it? She should be attacking from that position. She does not. She's in a defensive position now, as we have Darrell going for the body lock. Who is going to take this one? This can be anyone's right now. And she goes, gets her down. Very good throw. She goes for the arm drag, shoots him for the body. The young lady in yellow gets the body lock. Can she do something with it? She goes for a gaki. But yes, she does. I would love to see how the ref scores this, because the other young lady was able to reverse, and she does give her the point. It was a reversal. And blue did take this bout.
And that's our news this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.